When you were first designing, what made you want to be so loud with colour? Like,
because I always did. As a young girl, I always, when I went to dress design school, they said you can't design what you're wearing, and I was in colour. See, my big thing always when my artist husband was having, you know, dinner parties and all the thing, I'd just go off into the studio with the kids and draw. And I would have loved to have drawn with you.
I do that with my brother. He's 10, and he actually did my first hat because I just told him to squish the paints on, and he was doing it, and he actually had more control than me because, you know, when you give a kid a task to do something and you say, oh, you know, I actually got a lot of ideas with my furniture with him because I'd say, can you draw like 3 pieces of furniture for me? And because I said you could do any piece of furniture, anything. Right. And he gave me the best ideas ever because there's no constraints. He imagined things that were, you know.
Well, dolphins in the sky, not in the ocean.
Not in the ocean.
But as soon as they hit a certain age, kids, they start wanting to draw things perfectly. Right. And that's when I've lost them, you know. Everyone
was referencing me to you and asking me, you know, how, you know, where I was pulling from, my ideas and stuff like that. And I think that's where I kind of started to really tap into, you know.
But you weren't pulling your ideas from me. See, that's what I think's so fantastic. And you've come to all this colour all on your own.
There's a lot of colour, but I was because I've got a lot of new people around me right now and new energy. Did you find resistance at some point? Like, what was it, you know, you're obviously working in a team. Like, for me, I push forward ideas, but there's still limits no matter how much people love me or respect me. Or
we can't do that.
Yeah, and for me, it's like, you know, it's like almost the brakes get hit when there's that resistance because you're kind of like, we're going to work together, we're going to collaborate, we're going to make magic, and then you're like cruising through and then it's like, when it's like, wait, you've just stopped that flow by challenging something. And I'm really bad with challenge in a way of obstructing possibility. Like when someone comes into it knowing what they want to produce, my job's not designing half the time. It's like kind of pulling it apart and people's thought processes. And you know, I spend half my time just, you know, connecting on that level of my wavelength. Not the making's easy, the designing's easy, but to get on the same wavelength of thought and that continuum. I just want to understand like that process because you were, you know, prints and visuals, and it's like, how did you kind of even communicate? Because I'm assuming it was a big team for the Olympics. How did you kind of communicate these like extrusions?
But I had really wonderful artisan people that I worked with. I would say something and, you know, Paula Martin, the fabulous theatrical designer, she would sort of, you know, say, oh, but we could do it like this or this or this, but beautifully made. Oh. So it was like a dream working with her and her team.
An idea becomes tangible very quickly.
Yeah.
It's like a conversation is like this physical thing that just appears. Like before you came in, I was like, Max, I feel like we should show Jenny something. I was like, this is the design, how do you interpret it? I turned my back and 20 minutes before you even came in, I hadn't even seen it. This is what I'm saying, there's like an energy that's pulling people around and to create, you know, and in such a dynamic way.
Oh, Tony Asnes, who worked with
Icon.
Genius, who worked with me on the show, and Linda, and now he's working with you. And he is the one that blew those incredible designs of mine and made them huge. And now you're getting to work with those backdrops to make something extraordinary. So I just, you know, interconnected.
Definitely that feeling of opening doors for creativity. Like creativity is only one aspect of creativity, if that makes sense. Like, moving mountains is, you know, and speaking with people to, you know, to blow the ideas up is like so valuable to someone like me right now.
This reminds me of just how Linda and I were, how you are. It's like, you know, we're, you know, like 50-something years ago, and here you are, and it's just, you know, that not everyone works like that, and
No.
and it's just, you know, the whole idea of wearable art is just such a, you're taking it to another level. Black and white with all the symbols of peace and, you know, Wild About Wilderness, they're all on this piece of fabric that that was the backdrops for for the show at the Powerhouse here.
Yeah.
And
I can't wait to go over it because, you know, when you look at a grid on a piece of paper, you can scan it, but this is such a scale that I'm almost going to have to walk up to find the grids, and it's going to be this like monstrosity of things that I get to discover through the meterage of this work.
In the Powerhouse, you are going to have this amazing show, and you are going to be taking recycled works of mine from the Powerhouse exhibition, which is just, it's just a perfect symbiotic.
Yeah.
And maybe, you know, you're going to do all of that differently. I have no idea. But
yeah,
when I see all the beautiful art clothing and think about what this show is going to be, and then I look at what you're wearing right now, I go, yes!
So we did it.
Great.
Fantastic.